Hello everyone, and welcome to GT Manager. Yes, the game is almost here to release. I just want to say a massive thank you to the team over at GT Manager for providing me with an early copy of the game. Obviously, some of you might remember, I did a video on this a few months ago. Now, they've been away, they've been working on plenty of things inside the title, and they came back to me going, Matt, we want you to give it another go. Obviously, the game's coming out very soon. We'd love for you to take it for another spin. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. And I'm hoping that we can try and do a full Let's Play to make it to the top of the endurance racing world. Of course, if you're watching this on my main channel, the Let's Play will be over on Matt212 Plays. So there'll be a link down in the description for the rest of the series as well. We're incredibly close to 3k subs as well over there at the moment. So if kind of manager style games are your thing, then that is definitely the channel you want to go over and get yourself subscribed to as well then. So here we are in GT Manager. I'm Layla, your assistant manager. I'm going to give you the essential keys to managing your own team throughout the first season. Now, first of all, obviously we need to go and pick our name. Obviously, we're going to be 212 Motorsport inside this game. I do wish you could have slightly more than 14 characters for your title, but you can see, obviously, we have got GT4s, GT3s, GT2s, GTEs, and, of course, the hypercar class from Le Mans as well. So I guess this is a Road to Hypercar series as well, which is hopefully going to be really, really cool. But basically, you have to go through and try and score as many points as you possibly can. During the preseason, we decide in which category you will participate. Perform well in one category to advance to the next. Let's start with GT4. So we've got a few options then inside, obviously, each of the car classes as well. So you can see in the GT4 class, we've got the Chevrolet Camaro, the Audi RS3 LMS, the Lotus Emira GT4 car, the Celine S1 GT4 car, and the Porsche 718 Cayman as well then. Now, I think all of these are very, very cool, but I think we want to go with the Celine S1 because I think it's the coolest of all of the cars as well. You can see every single car has different characteristics as well. So, for example, yeah, this one is a decent all-round. It struggles a bit with straight line speed, but hopefully that isn't going to affect us too much. And then we've got the opportunity to pick some drivers as well there. A team is made up with 2 cars with 2 drivers each. They're contracted for 1 season with a season objective. If you meet it, they will stay with the team as well. So let's see. You can see we've obviously got some, I don't know whether they're real people or whether they're just based on real people. I don't recognize any of them, but it looks like, obviously, we've only got 4 drivers to pick from, so they all cost pretty much the same. I don't know whether it's going to be worth trying to have, like, a consistent car and a not-so-consistent car. I think that's what we'll try and do to make sure, yeah, that we don't screw over one of our teams as well there. So everybody is going to go into the roster as well, and obviously we'll just confirm all of those. So yeah, everyone's got a driver salary and things like that as well, so managing money is going to be really, really important. The season's sponsor, to provide earnings at the end of the season, reach the season objective to earn its associated reward, earned based on race points accumulated during the championship. So let's see then, we've only got 1 available to us, and if we finish inside the top 5, we get $450,000 as well then. So cooler, amazing engine have come on, and then we also get a race sponsor as well then. So we've got the decision between 1 driver in the top 5 or 1 driver in the top 3. I think we'll play it safe and we'll go with time perf there. They also offer a slightly more per point scoring as well, cash on hand. So there we go. We'll head in then, and now you can see we've obviously got a calendar over the course of the season. So yeah, the GT4 Championship is 10 races from February to November, but that's not all. There is plenty of other things that you've got to go through inside this game as well. So building your HQ takes time. Your car factory will be ready in a month. Time to travel and participate in the first race of the championship. Now, I'm hoping they've made the races slightly longer. I did complain, obviously, during the preview version of the game I had as well. I understand, obviously, for a lot of people, they just want short, quick-fire races to get into it. But for me, I kind of like a bit longer racing and everything like that. As you can see, yeah, the race is still, obviously, it is a sprint championship for the most part. So they are only 15 laps. But hopefully, obviously, as we go through the game, we'll get some longer races as well. Because I quite like the idea, of like a 30-minute race or something like that as well. But very, very quick loading times, which I guess is nice. But we are here then in India on a track that looks loosely based off of the Bud International as well. Then we have one lap to set the best time to determine our position on the starting grid. The cars have been pre-configured by the team as well. So we've got a little bit of fuel, some soft tyres on both of the cars as well. And we will send them out for qualifying as well then. Now the game is very, very seamless and kind of the way it throws you in. And I must admit, for a very small team, indie developers as well, the graphics I think do look really, really good. Unfortunately, our qualifying time though left a little bit to be desired. P13 and P16 on the grid is, well, yeah, right towards the rear of the field as well. So we're going to have our work cut out as we head into the race. JSB competition is going to put the car on pole position as well then. But yeah, with a 15-lap race, it is going to be interesting to kind of see, obviously, how we're going to be able to get on. No stops apparently are possible, when we can also ask for a driver change as well, when we obviously go. We're in for a 15-lap sprint and no weather changes in the forecast. So what can we do? We wonder what... You know what, we'll split our strategies then. So, actually we can't. There's no real point in doing that because the tyres will only go so far. So what we'll do is we'll start the other car on the mediums just to see how far they can go. But yeah, we're going to opt for half tank of fuel and we will go from there. So our first ever race inside GT Manager about to get underway then. I'm looking forward to this. Hoping we can have a good run, Just want to get to the end clean and tidy. And yeah, the Celine does look super, super cool in this game as well. There is JSB at the front of the order. Our Porsche at the start. And you can see we've got our own real rivals in the Camaros at the rear of the field as well. So you've got a few different options, obviously, as you're in the race as well. So you can implement driver speed, things like that. And you can also, obviously, just make sure that you're monitoring the car as well. So a bit like F1 Manager, you have got those little things as well that'll keep you on your toes as you head into the race. But let's see then how we're going to get on in our first ever race here at GT Manager. The 5 red lights have come on, and it is going to be lights out, and away we go then. So early on, obviously we're just going to take things nice and easy, kind of see how everybody gets through the first lap, wait and see whether it's particularly chaotic or anything like that. And also, obviously, we've just got to try and manage the fuel and the tyres as well. There is almost 3 wide as we make our way down the back straight. And you can see, yeah, this is a very odd circuit because the pit lane actually isn't on the start-finish straight either there. But already trying to make a couple of moves to get back around some of the other cars around us. Of course, you have got some different options of a more kind of 2D style display. Or obviously you can speed it up as well if you want to there. So you've got to hold it down if you want to speed it up as well. But yeah, in terms of obviously management as well, this is going to be a very, very tight one-stop race. I don't know whether the AI are going to do the same thing. I couldn't even tell you how much time pit stops take. So it is going to be difficult to kind of manage and judge everything as the race goes on. But we do get 3 push modes as well, which I believe just gives you a short temporary... Well, we'll try it out. I think it gives you a temporary power boost. And you can see the guy in front of us then immediately will use it to defend as well. Almost 4 wide through the final corner. But yeah, there we go. Everybody now trying to push their way through and trying to gain a couple of spots as well. But we are, yeah, down into last and second to last here. So we'll try and navigate our way through. I mean, this is a big old gaggle of cars towards the rear of the field. But yeah, I must admit, like I said, I think the graphics, for an indie-style game, for a manager-style game as well, they do look very, very cool. I want to do, obviously, more, motorsport manager-style games and things like that as well. One of my mates was trying to egg me on that I need to try Football Manager at some point. Not convinced I know enough about that to really do anything, but we'll wait and see as we'll try and use one of the push modes with the other car then, and we timed that one nicely down the inside of a handful of drivers in towards that first corner. So we need to try and pit the first car, probably on... Well, he's got to be lap 6 or lap 7 there, so we might try and bring him in just slightly early, because otherwise, yeah, he is using... Obviously, they're using the same amount of fuel, so it is going to be quite tricky as the race goes on. Obviously, if we've got to try and pit them both at the same time, and obviously we need the medium compound run of Steven to just stay out there 1 or 2 laps extra to make sure that obviously we get to the end of the GPs. You can already see engine temps starting to rise as well. But if we can get the other driver there, Florian, up to the end of lap 6, that would be quite good. And we are now slowly moving our way forward as a few cars have dived into the pit lane as well. And so that's ideal for us at the moment. Just starting to maybe see, I think some of them, yeah, are going to have to opt for a 2-stop strategy as well, which, you know, that might hopefully springboard us up the order just a little bit more then, as we'll try and get on to lap 6. And then, yeah, we will inform Florian he's going to take half tank of fuel and he's going to go medium tyres to the end of the afternoon. So, yeah, he's just reporting now that his tyres are starting to give up, and we will try and bring Vinny into the car as well. I don't know whether that costs us any more time to go for a driver swap, but we're going to risk it. We're going to try it and see what happens as well. There is, yes, soon I think we might try and use one more push with Steven in a minute, but we'll ride into the pit lane then with Florian as well. There you can see, yeah, it's just started to overheat that engine a little bit more as well. So I've stabilized the car's reliability. I guess that's good news. As he's getting ready then to make his way back out of the pit lane. Come on, mate, you got to get on with it. We're in the middle of a race here. He's just stood around having a wander over to the car. You're going to see he's going to come back out as, yeah, we're going to have to try and save Steven's car just a little bit more. You can see, yeah, when you get stuck in the dirty air of the car in front, it can be a little bit difficult to try and manage that. So we are going to have to pit him the end of this lap. And we'll go soft compound tyres as well. And I think we'll bring in Max Bird as well into the car. So we'll just try and get him to push on once more on this lap. Wait and see if he can get the overcut on his teammate there, because of course he's going to be fast towards the end of the afternoon. I'm getting slightly worried though that he's going to run out of fuel before we get round to the start-finish line. We're starting to get very, very close with that fuel mileage. And we've got yellow flags. What on earth's happened? No idea what on earth has happened then, but that's going to provide us with a bit of a lifeline in this race. Because effectively it's going to provide us and a few other runners with a free pit stop there. But I think a couple of guys have had to stay out in all of this. We're up to P3 overall. So yeah, really not too sure what's gone on. But as Steven makes his way into the pit lane as well then, surely he's going to get a big jump on our teammate as well then. He's going to have to try and push on in the second half of this race as well. But you can see that countdown obviously is going pretty quickly here, but that's worked out fantastically as Max Bird will come back out onto the circuit now with just a handful of laps to go of this race, and he's going to be out in P4. So yeah, looking at the tyres as well, you can see, yeah, I mean, we've only got car number 2 at the front of the order that hasn't opted to pit yet, but he should still be in a pretty safe spot. As, yeah, we'll just try and manage, see what we're doing with Vinny in the other car as well. We're going to immediately try and make a move down the back straight on one of our other rivals. So, I mean, if we could try and get a double top 10 finish here, I think we'll walk away very, very happy. But we need to obviously just manage with Max as well in the other car, because he's got a bit of breathing room. He's up into the podium. So we're currently on for a provisional podium in this race as well, which would be absolutely fantastic news if we can do it. Now, I don't know whether you get 1 push per stint or per drive, or 3, sorry, pushes per driver or per stint, or what the rules are with that. But we're just going to try and make sure that we use all of them up pretty quickly here, because we're only about 4 seconds off the lead. So it will be nice to try and get into that fight there. But yeah, this strategy so far has worked out really, really nicely for us. So with a 6-second buffer to the guy behind, I think we should be pretty safe in that number 1 car to try and get right the way to the end pretty safely. We've only got a few more laps to go. And you can see, yeah, we have got a bit of a buffer as well over P13. Who's just starting to use a bit of push mode as well. We're going to try and save them and use them down the back straight as well then. So we'll make our way through turn 1 and we will push on yet again. Just try and gain that little bit of speed. So it does add, you know, a fun little element of strategy as well to the game. As we're going to try and, oh, we thought about having a look down the inside there down the end of the back straight. I wish there was the option to kind of change the camera angle as well, but I understand, obviously, this is just meant to be, more of a top-down game as well. But yeah, in terms of fuel and tyres, we're doing pretty well at the moment. We should be able to stretch them both to the end as we've got more cars into the pit lane then. So Vinny is going to move his way back up the order once more and up into 8th place then. But we're going to try and attack for P7 as well as we make our way down the back straight this time around. Surely we're going to be able to look for the move, which we will. And 3rd and 7th place then in the running as Max has actually gone and set the fastest lap of the race as well here. Are we just going to be able to bring this first one home? We just see we're starting to struggle a little bit with engine temperature, so we'll try and cool that back down. It is a very, very kind of quick cool down procedure inside this game, but it does, yeah, make quite a lot of difference as well. So we'll just try and get both engines a little bit cooler again before we should hopefully be able to try and get them to the end of the race there. Just 2 laps left here from India, and we're doing very, very well with both cars. Their tyres apparently are gone on Max's car, but hopefully we're going to be able to just about drag it out to the checkered flag here. We might start losing just a little bit of time. It's actually, we're gaining time on our top 2, so I think they might be in even worse positions than ourselves here. As now, yeah, Vinny as well complaining about tyres further behind. And have we got a bit of a battle going on for the lead of the race? I don't think we're quite going to get close enough by the end of this. You can see his tyres are completely hitting the cliff. But through the final corners, it is going to be Max Bird that gets us a podium here in our first ever race from the rear of the field. I think, yeah, we might have accidentally cooked the engine on the other car as well. But in towards the final couple of corners, Beltramini as well is going to get us a P7 finish. It's a double points haul in our first ever race in GT Manager. We can be pretty happy with that. And there we go then. You can see JSB actually did the 2 medium stint strategy there. I didn't know whether you'd actually be able to do that or not. So, yeah, they did a really good result. Obviously, we did get the fastest lap, which I don't believe offers you a bonus point inside this game there. But 34 points for the team as well. Means we should be quite high up in the Constructors' Championship as well there. And you can see we do get a fair old chunk of prize money as well. $34,700 should be able to pay for the team and a few staff members as well. So a pretty good start to the campaign there. And you can see we lost $3,000 still, which is not ideal. Luckily, we have got $1.5 million in the pocket. And there's the opportunity now to start building our car factory as well. You're going to need it to grow your team and to build better cars. So that's exactly what we're going to do. The car factory is going to be set up, and are we going to be able to do some upgrades to the car as well? The opposing teams keep improving, and we have to do the same. Each building allows you to improve aspects of your team, hover over its statistics, and learn more about them. Here, you can improve the car, you can define parts and employees to enhance your statistics. Let's start by choosing suspension. So we'll go with that. You can see it does give us a little bit of a performance boost, and every part and employee has a monthly cost for the team, so you have to be careful with our spending. So yeah, we've got just under $1 million still in the bank, and you can see we're spending about $25,000 a month, so we need to make sure that obviously we're earning that cash back as well over the next few rounds. But yeah, hopefully obviously we're going to get that suspension upgrade onto the car nice and soon, and hopefully it'll give us a bit of a better chance to fight as well. You're ready to finish this season, manage your team, and reach the top of each championship category. Good work. So yeah, in terms of the championship then, you can see obviously we get all of our information as well there, and it actually looks like race 2 is going to feature some changeable conditions as well then, so that's going to be very, very interesting. This race is expected to be rainy. Don't forget to equip wet tyres at the right time to avoid losing performance. Is there a way that we can take a look at like the other championships and things? I don't know if we can. As you can see, we'll have a quick look at some, obviously, the other cars that are available to you. Obviously, you've got the Audis, you've got the Lotus, obviously the Porsche as well. And you can see as we move up into GT3, though, you have got a very, very good roster inside this game. You've got the Audi R8, you've got the BMW M4, the Ford Mustangs, the Mercedes AMGs, even the Porsche 911 GTR as well. And the GT2 cars, I absolutely love. These things are basically just GT3 cars on steroids, and it's so cool to see them featuring in a few more games there. You've got the Audi R8 again, you've got the KTM Crossbow, again the Mercedes AMG, and the Porker, including the 935. That is so cool. I definitely want to give that a go at some point in this game as well, then that thing is super, super cool to see. GTE, of course, sadly, a dead series now in 2024, but you have got the Aston Martin, the Brabham there, the Corvette, the Ford, and the Porsche once more, and then a hypercar class as well. You've got those Alpines, you've got the Aston Martin Valkyrie as well, which obviously hasn't even made its debut in hypercar or GTP, and we've got the BMW, the Bugatti, the Glickenhaus, the Peugeot, and of course the Porsche 963 as well. They're all very, very cool cars that hopefully we're going to be driving, or managing even, in the not too distant future. But yeah, let's head out then. Let's get our second race of the season under our belt. We'll head here to Italy. Well, as you can see there, the rain absolutely lashing down here in Italy. So, I mean, this is meant to be loosely based on Imola, if I'm not mistaken as well then. So, let's see how qualifying goes. I know, obviously, you can simulate qualifying in the F1 games, but I do think this is quite a cool little feature as well to have as we round our way through the final couple of corners. Surely being that close behind your teammate, it's not going to be that beneficial here. But yeah, you can see we've now got, theoretically, the strongest car on the grid. But it doesn't stop us still qualifying right towards the rear of the field, which is a little bit of a shame. Now, as we head into the race, though, we need to try and make sure that we've got both of our wet weather drivers in the car first, which I believe we already do. So it is meant to dry up, though, at some point during the race. So we could see, yeah, switch over to the dry compounded tyre at some point as well then. But, yeah, annoyingly, we've probably put both of our wet masters inside the first car as well, so that might be a little bit of a problem. Steven, I think, might struggle a bit early on in this race, but let's see how we're going to get on them as we head into race number 2. I'm looking forward to this. I'm hoping we can have another clean, tidy run there, as, yeah, the rain is absolutely lashing down. See, once again, JSB on the front row of the grid, but hopefully we can keep it clean, keep it tidy. I don't know whether it's possible to even crash out in these races, but we're hopefully not going to find out. 5 red lights, and it is going to be lights out and away we go. Once again then, is everybody trying to be cool, calm and collected down in towards that first corner. We're going to try and be really cheeky and see if we can use a bit of a speed boost there, try and build some confidence through the first couple of turns, and maybe make an impact nice and early on here. As you can see, yeah, everybody 3 wide there through the first few corners as we make our way up and towards Tosa, though. It's actually Steven that's making the moves in the other car as well, which is pretty cool to see early on. So, despite, yeah, meant to struggle a bit more in the wet weather, he's actually able to get it done pretty nice and tidy off the start of this one. But really, yeah, this race is going to be all about waiting for the dry period and then obviously making that switch at the right time is going to be absolutely pivotal here. I don't know if there's a way we can kind of check what the weather's going to be doing. It does obviously tell you that it's going to dry up, and maybe we should have put one of the cars with a full tank of fuel as well, because that might make the difference. Obviously, if we can't get to that dry period without pitting, that could be quite pivotal here. So we might just try and tone it back with Florian as well there, just to try and make sure. Yeah, you can see we've only got fuel for 5 more laps at this pace, so if we try and calm Florian down a little bit extra, then maybe we can try and stretch an extra one, and that could be the difference maker early on, as everybody else trying to use their overtake nice and early. We're going to try and save it for the front straight once again then. But you can see it's been a fairly tidy start by most of the drivers as well. Like I said, I want to see if each driver gets 3 push modes, or whether obviously it is just 3 for the car. See, trying to have a look down the inside, or down the outside even, back down in towards turn 1, not able to pull that move off. So yeah, we're struggling a little bit early on. Its tyre wear as well seems to be quite high in this race, but yeah, I mean, it's going to depend obviously on what the AI do as well once more, how their strategy is kind of going to play out. But yeah, Florian just waiting at the rear of the field, just now starting to think about making moves as maybe other drivers struggling a bit on tyres. We go 3 wide through what would normally be Aqua Minerale there, and through the chicane as well. But see, yeah, that does make a bit of a difference with the fuel. See, it has just got a little bit more still in the tank, as you would hope. So we'll go again with the push mode on Steven. You can see, yeah, we'll try and close in on some of those other cars as well. Too hot or too cold, the car is exposed to control loss, which may result into an accident. So yeah, we've got to be careful with the tyre management as well. So yeah, Florian's struggling a bit more with that at the moment. So he's going to have to try and get his elbows out. There we go. The rain has now stopped here at Imola. So are we going to see a call into the pit lane pretty soon as well then? I guess we kind of got to just wait and see whether the AI are going to dive in immediately. I don't know whether there's any kind of grip levels simulated or anything like that, whether it's going to be worth just diving in as soon as possible here. Unfortunately, we can't even watch what the top car is going to do. But are we going to see any of them in? Yes, we don't. Okay. So that, I guess, is good news for us, that we haven't been completely mugged off. One guy behind is opting to pit, so we'll just try and save a little bit more fuel. We'll use our final push mode as well then with Stephen. Maybe that's a good choice, maybe it isn't. Have to wait and see as to how the rest of the afternoon pans out there. But down the inside at Tosa once again. And well, we could try and make the switch then. We'll go to the medium tyres to go to the end of the race. And yeah, we'll put Max Bird into the car as well. And as we just try and cool down that engine a little bit more. So we might end up being, the driver that makes that call quite early in this race. As Florian, we would just try and keep him out there one extra lap. Try and get him to bunch back up with some of the other cars around him. You can see, that car is... I mean, it's difficult to tell. You can't really see the lap times as everybody else is pitting. But most of them have gone to soft compounded tyres. And I love that little graphic as well. Obviously, if you're not focusing on that car, then obviously, you can just make sure that obviously everything is still going as it should be. So we'll go mediums. We will go with 13 to 14 laps of fuel. Just obviously make sure that we can get to the end of the race. And yeah, we will once again push within there. Just overheat the oil maybe a little bit too much at the moment. But yeah, hopefully now Max Bird. So you get one back, I believe, obviously when you pit as well. So yeah, everybody else on soft compound tyres, they're definitely not going to the end of the race. So Florian here might be about to pull off a bit of a worldie for us as he's going to dive into the pit lane at the end of that lap. He's only got an 11-second margin over the cars behind, but hopefully, yeah, nice, clean, tidy stop is going to make the difference. Weirdly, I kind of find it quite endearing, just watching the crew kind of not do a lot with the car, as, yeah, obviously a big amount of fuel going in. So he will safely be able to make it to the end of the race there, but I don't know whether Max is going to be able to. We took a bit of a gamble with him, so we'll just try and tone back the engine saving as well on the other car as well. As we're running up in 4th and 10th place, so this is working rather nicely for us at the moment. You can see we've got a big cluster of cars between our two, so they will likely have to pit again before the end of this one. So we'll just keep trying to manage the pace as well. There we go, even more cars in, so Florian will move up back into 7th place as well there. So yeah, it's an interesting one. It is kind of dictated on what the other cars are going to do. So we've got another one, or another couple into the pit lane. So Max is going to be up at a P1 then. And if he's able to get this car to the checkered flag, which, like I said, I think is going to be tight, it might well be a really, really good call by us. Try and get these both to the end of the afternoon, as once again, just trying to manage that engine temperature. It is one of the things, that really does keep you on your toes as you go through these races. But both of our cars now ahead of everybody that hasn't pit. Oh, sorry, everybody that has pit again. So we're doing very, very well in that regard. And we'll try and just use another push mode out of the final corner there, just to close back in on those cars that, we know are going to have to pit here. So I'm looking at Max's pace. He might have to pit right towards the end of this one. We might just be able to stretch it. But we might just have to try and leave him on kind of 1 bar of push. Just to make sure that we get to the flag. So this might actually be a really good opportunity for Florian as well to try and bag a win early on this season. Because, of course, we know he can just push on right towards the end of this race as well. And we'll give Max his last push mode as well. Although I'm not really sure we're going to want to use it here. He started the lap with, I think, about 34% of fuel. So he's definitely going to be tight towards the end. But you see that time around, he got through about 5 or 6%. So it is going to be close, but he might just be able to do it by the end of the race as well there. So we'll just try and tone back Florian's fuel usage again. The other two in this battle definitely aren't going to be able to make it. And then JSB behind us definitely are. So we've got about a 7-second buffer to those other cars behind, as we make our way back up the hill. Maybe this game is slightly easier than F1 Manager as well. I certainly haven't seen this much success this early inside that title as well. Then, as you can see, Max again uses about 6% fuel that lap. So he is going to be mighty close by the end of this race. So we are going to have to try and just fuel save that little bit more. But Florian now trying to make the move to potentially move up into P2 here. He is closing in on his teammate just a little bit. And I forgot about the tyres as well. So Max, yeah, definitely starting to struggle towards the end of this one. Florian is not in a much better situation, but it is definitely better still. But we're going to try and gamble it. We're going to try and get both cars to the checkered flag as well. There's 3 laps to go, 15% on those tyres. I'm not sure Max is going to be able to do it, annoyingly. Those tyres are looking pretty worn out. It's going to be tight for Florian as well. But we just got to wait and see kind of what the pace drop-off is like towards the end of the afternoon, as both drivers now reporting that they're not happy with the tyres as well. And now Florian has cooked the engine once more. So things are getting really, really tight towards the end of this race. You can see that gap to JSP is going down as well. The guy in P3 has basically been able to get his tyres to completely dead. And I don't think Still has opted to pit here. So yeah, he's just trying to brave it out to the end of the afternoon as well. And that gives me a little bit of confidence that maybe, just maybe, they won't be in too bad shape. Max, though, is he going to be able to get to the last lap with the amount of fuel he's got in the car? We know the other one is going to be absolutely fine there. He's got 5% fuel. We are really cutting this fine towards the end of the race. If it goes down to 4 before we get to the line, and it has, we might be in big trouble here. He's got no tyres, he's got no fuel, but onto the last lap of the race we go. We have still got a 1-2 here, but we might be about to bottle it. In typical Mat 2-2 fashion, we might be able to bottle it. As, yeah, he's got 2% fuel in the car. Just lift and coast, man. Drive so slowly around this lap. Please don't run out of fuel. You can see the gap is definitely starting to go down a little bit. He's got nothing left on those tyres. They are completely bowled. I guess the one good thing is the other car will be able to get to the end anyway. And he's still going at the moment. He's out of fuel. But we've got a yellow flag because of it. And is he going to grind to a halt in this race right towards the end? Yes, he is. And 2 corners from home. He is going to be out of this race there. Annoying for Max Bird. But Florian in the other car is going to get gifted the victory because of it. And that is, well, mixed emotions down within the team. Out of the final corner, though, Florian is going to take the win. Our first ever win in GT Manager. But it should have been a 1-2. That is absolutely heartbreaking. And there we go. We'll get our first achievement inside the game as well for finishing a race with a win there. 30 points on the board for the number 1 car. But sadly, yeah, the number 2 not getting classified in the end. We just tried to gamble a little bit too far. Maybe pushed on a bit more aggressively than we should have. And we ultimately paid the price for that one as well. We do still get a fair bit of prize money, though, which I guess we can be pretty happy with as well there. But what a dramatic conclusion to that race. And again, you can see we're just still spending a bit more money than we're earning, which is not ideal either as well. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourselves subscribed. Once again, a massive thank you for GT Manager for sending me out an early copy of the game. If, like I said, if you're watching this on the main channel, make sure to click on Mat 2-2 Plays down in the description below. I definitely am going to try and do more of this game and try to make our way to the top classes of motorsport as well. But yeah, that's going to do us for this one, and we'll be back very soon with more Formula 1 or racing content.